situation, what would you do? What do you mean? Like, what are your skills? What's your game plan? Oh, okay, yeah, I'd find a man. Find a man? Yeah, I mean, am I strong? Sure. Am I capable? Sure. Am I stronger or more capable than a well-trained man? No. Okay, well, that's internal misogyny, but we're not even going to talk about that. Why do you think this man is just going to protect you? Oh, yeah, that's where my skills come in. Oh. What should I have said, like archery or something?
Since strong, independent women are currently trending on the social medias, I figured we'd go with that intro today.
Oh, boy.
Cool. How y'all doing on this? Sorry, it's daylight savings time. I'm grumpy.
You know what's awesome about daylight savings time when you work night shift is you get to sit there and watch all of the clocks in the building go from 1:59 to 3, and it's like, yes, fuck the whole 2 o'clock hour. We get to go home early tonight.
I never thought of it that way.
Another example of why night shift is superior to being some day walker.
So I guess there's this billboard somewhere that it's like how many smoking deaths so far this year, and it's a digital counter, And I saw on New Year's a bunch of people gather at it apparently every year to watch it reset from 3 million to 0 at midnight. Yay! Oh man, that's awesome. No smoking deaths. All right.
Do you think Chicago's ever actually hit 0? Like at 12:01, somebody gets shot, and it's like it just goes from whatever the number was back to 1.
This many days since a shooting death or something. We bought the 0, we bought the 1, but we haven't even had to buy the 2 yet. It's crazy.
And they repurpose the 0 for something else. Or the 1, I mean.
Yeah. It's just collecting dust. It's just
like anytime they need an L for a different board, it's like, yeah, just throw the 1 up there. We don't need it. It's never gonna come into play.
Oh, shit.
God, I wonder when the last time Chicago did not have a shooting death was. Like, there's got to be a tracker for that somewhere, right?
It's got to be
I've heard stuff like in New York, they'd be like, "Oh, this is the first." Yeah, this is like we went 3 days without a murder. It was amazing, or something. I know I've seen news stories about that for New York.
It's like maybe your society sucks at that point.
Yeah, it's like when they have the weather records. Like, oh man, we haven't had a day in the 40s in May since 1933 or something. Same kind of thing. I will say, in fairness, with however many millions of people you have living on top of each other, it's the fact they ever go a day without a murder is amazing.
I think that's just a statistical inevitability.
I feel like it is, and also it's just I don't know. I just couldn't imagine living in the city without wanting to murder people all day long.
When you put that many people in that close proximity, somebody's gonna lose their shit and kill somebody. It's just inevitable at that point.
It's like Batman, Ghostbusters. Where all the hate builds up under the city. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, it's okay. We lived in Brooklyn on and off for a couple of years. I do understand why people would kill each other because, it's hard to be around that many people.
I'd be a much shittier person towards other people if I had to deal with people more than I do.
Oh, I get it. I just have to drive through Evansville.
You ever see Justin driving?
Waving the freaking gun around, man. Put the piece away.
Testing out. He wants to test out that new pistol.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Speaking of,
totally calm.
I live in a really small town, and I was trying to pull into a spot the other day on one of the main strips, and it was one of the diagonal parking spots. So I stopped, popped my reverse on real quick, and the guy behind me that's half a car length behind me beeps his horn and is freaking out, throwing his hands up in the air because I'm trying to pull into a spot. Just What kind of retard are you?
Move to the city with that attitude, fucker.
I was at a red light in Evansville one day, and like I'm sitting there watching the light. I'm actually wasn't playing on my phone or anything. Sean and I were talking or something, and as soon as the light turns green, like immediately it turns green, and he honks the horn. I'm like, oh fuck no, we're just gonna sit here at this light. I got nowhere to go and no reason to go there. Like, if you want to honk at me the second it turns green, fuck you. We'll sit here. Like, get out and come around the truck. Like, oh, give me a reason. Oh, I hate Evansville people so much. I keep telling Sean, whenever I finally become like the warlord dictator of the world and get all of the nuclear codes, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fucking crater Evansville. Like, I don't give a shit. Priority number one. After that, we'll figure all the rest of it out. But
do a nuclear code. It's got to be more of a Moab. Like, you don't want to like destroy all the crops or around the area.
Well, let me ask you this: isn't there a distillery from Evansville? Which one is it? Is it Evan Williams? If it's Evan Williams, you can have it. Blow it up.
I don't think there's some like microbreweries and stuff.
That's like turpentine, man. That's absolute.
Jack
turpentine.
Daniels is that
Tennessee.
Yeah, Jack Daniels is in Tennessee somewhere.
Oh, Evansville, Indiana.
Is it still? Is that still a dry county? The county that I know that the county that Jack Daniels was made was dry for a long time. I think it's still a dry county.
I don't think there's any dry counties anymore. I think everything's at least.
I'm gonna have to look that up now.
I think everything's at least considered moist. Like Murray, where I went to college.
It's hot.
Was Murray was
going to that story you were talking about earlier.
Murray was a dry county for the longest time, and or Callaway County was the dry county. And when I was in college, or I guess right before I got to college, they had like a vote, and they made it what they called a moist county. You had liquor by the drink in the restaurants and stuff, and like there was certain allowable alcohol in the county. It wasn't completely dry, but like if you wanted to actually buy alcohol, like buy a 6-pack or whatever, you had to either go somewhere else, or what we would all do is you go south. Is what, like, hey, I'm heading south. You want anything? Which meant I'm gonna cross the state line into Tennessee, and there was literally it looked like a garage, like what I'm in right now, but it was just like ceiling to floor, wall to wall beer and a register, and like that was so. If you were getting beer, that's where you went just literally right across the state line. If you wanted to get like actual liquor, you had to drive further to the next town.
Out for
the liquor. I just Googled it. Lynchburg is a dry county.
That's amazing.
So they can't sell the whiskey at the distillery.
Yeah, you have to buy a keychain, and they give you a bottle of whiskey.
I think that's
buy a keychain for $44.95. I got a buddy who's been there, and yeah, he told me something. I don't remember what the deal is, but yeah, something about their gift shop or whatever.
Good old loopholes.
It was weird, or it's just a cronyist thing where like they're the only place in like the county they're allowed to sell it or some shit. In fairness, they probably do make the county.
Yeah,
I heard a story about one of the I don't know if it's true, but I heard a story about one of the Anheuser-Busch dudes, like back when it was still, owned by like the family, like getting pulled over for DUI in his Ferrari, and like they blew his tires out or some shit. And then when like they found out it was like one of the Bush dudes, like the cops changed his tires and sent him on his way, like kind of deal. Like, oh, Mr. Bush, so sorry about that, sir. Get you on your way.
That's like when they pull over a politician in DC.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Depending on how the winds are blowing that week, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Unless the FBI is done with that politician, and then they turn him in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, oh no, we wanted this to happen. We needed a reason.
Yep. Exactly.
So I was watching the news this morning, and we have a Legoland near us, and they were doing a thing from Legoland, and I just want to let you guys know, good news, Legoland still has both male and female mascots. It's not And you think with like Lego, they can make it just a Lego brick person, but nope, they've got like a brick boy and a brick girl.
What a
Yeah.
that is just so sexist.
We're
or
making
whatever the
progress,
word
guys.
It's good to know Lego
A
hasn't
brick
gone
they. Yeah.
full on woke. I know Lego has done some stuff in the not so distant past that rub people the wrong way with a little bit excessive. I don't remember if it was like particularly progressive, like woke type stuff, as much as just kind of like tone deaf. God, now I'm trying to remember what it was, but I mean, largely Lego does a good job of staying out of political bullshit. Like they understand what
Do
their
they
business
really?
model is. It's selling plastic blocks to children, like for way too much money. Like holy
And,
shit.
Star Wars shaped plastic blocks to nerds. Adult millennial nerds.
Trying
Yeah.
to see if I've got any Lego stuff in here. I think Sean's got it all in his room.
I had a really big Connects set when I was a kid. You guys remember Connects?
Ooh,
Was
do you
that
remember
the
do you
was
remember
that
the
the
Lego
one?
pirate ships? Connects.
Connects was like it was almost like it was like plastic. It wasn't like Tinker Toys, but it was almost like that shape. Like it had like longer like rods, and then the connector pieces were like almost like they were like circles, maybe like kind of star shaped, and you click them together. I'll find the see if I can find.
Didn't
the
they
thing I
have
had.
like building sets? Like they look like buildings.
Not the one that I had.
Here we go,
But
Justin.
they do have. Actually, I did just see Connects building sets. Yeah, here.
Hold
And
on, I'm pulling
Lego
something
had their
here.
own kind of similar thing to Connects. It was Lego Technics. It was more
Yeah, I
like
remember those.
we had
Yeah.
like a
So you can get-
truck and like a race car. Like pretty cool.
So I know we can get Mark now for his birthday. Or
Is
Clyde, one of the two.
Like this, they
All
have roller coaster stuff.
All right.
So
Is
Auto
Queer Eye
raised.
is Queer Eye progressive, or is it just like funny and stupid?
I've never
Your Eye
seen
for
an
the Straight
episode.
Guy?
I've never
show?
seen an episode.
Well, also the time that came out in like the early 2000s, right?
Right.
So it was was it like one of the first like gay shows like that? But it wasn't just a gay show. Like it wasn't just supposed. I don't think it was supposed to be marketed as just for gays because for the straight guy, right?
Right.
Maybe
It
something
wasn't-
people who were newly accepting of gays could watch as a family. I don't know.
Right. It wasn't like I didn't feel like it was marketed or really even done as a gay show so much as it was like taking dudes who obviously have I'm one to talk. Taking dudes who obviously have like no fashion sense and no concern for their appearance whatsoever, and kind of giving them a glow up or whatever you want to call it. Like that's all it was. It wasn't any. It was like adult male makeovers.
The South Park episode was
and
just
they
great.
played up like the comedy of it too. Like it was funny and it was stupid. It wasn't like explicitly gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was back when they knew their lane. Hey, you dress me up and make me look pretty. All right, then get out of my sight.
Oh god, that was great.
I've never seen an episode, but yeah, the South Park where they did the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy thing, and it turned out it was crap.
Oh, I
people
gotta
trying
find
to
that.
weaken the male, the male species.
Is it
so
the
they can take
teacher?
over.
Is it the teacher that does it? Please tell me.
The teacher and Mr. Slave hate Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and they go to try to end it. Them and the boys, because they hate it too. Because the boys hate it because it turned their dads all sissy, and then the teacher and Mr. Slave hate it because it's kind of ruining gay culture. Because now all the straights are acting gay, and they're like, "Hey, come on!" And then they have a hard time telling who's gay. Like they go to the gay bar and all the dads are there, and like, "Oh my goodness!" And they're trying to hit on them, and they're like, "What, dude? I'm not gay." Yeah, well, your shoes say you're gay. Yeah, beautiful writing. Mr. Slave. I watched a couple older movies this weekend. let's see. And I was looking at I was noticing some like the toys, like in the background. And it's like stuff like I completely forgot about that like I had. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of the one. I completely forgot it existed. And then, here we go. And then I saw it and like all the memories came flooding back. I had this thing. Do you guys ever have this? The robot arm? Armamatron, they called it.
I remember it, but I didn't have that.
There's some Radio Shack. Yeah, all fully fucking... Now these little tubes on top, they didn't do anything. I remember like disconnecting them. They were just for looks. But yeah, man, it was like all the, you can make it do twist and turn and pick stuff up. Yeah. Neat. Sorry. You guys had to reminisce with me.
We didn't.
Yeah, metrosexual. Yep, they're metrosexual.
We didn't have stuff like that.
I didn't.
I grew up on a farm. We had real mechanical things that.
I didn't grow up in a rich family, man. I didn't have that kind of stuff.
Oh, it wasn't that expensive. They tried to get me all the smart kid toys because I was one of the smart kids.
And if it was in Radio Shack, Radio Shack was in like Paducah. That was an hour away. We went to Paducah like maybe once a month, if even that. That was the big trip. Where's
Paducah?
It's like the closest city
to what state?
Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
So
the Christmas presents were just out of reach for your family at an hour away once a year, huh? We didn't go to like a family trip on a Sunday and buy me this thing at our local Radio Shack that didn't exist. My Radio Shack was an hour away too, motherfucker. Stop making excuses. Because your parents wanted you to play with pitchforks and shit. All right.
My parents just didn't love me. They I guess when I was like 9 years old, I learned how to drive a truck, and as soon as I was big enough to walk, I was pulling weeds in corn, in soybean fields. So
they didn't want to nurture your engineering side as a young child.
Slave labor. That's the only reason.
I was out mowing lawns, making money, man. I was charging $2 a lawn.
I didn't have that.
No, you two completely negated childhood. I bring up one toy I like, and you're like, I didn't play with toys when I was a kid. I was out working.
Say the best toy we got is when you go to pull a pig. When you pull one of the pig weeds, you try to make sure you left a nice big clump of dirt on the root when you pulled it up, and then I'd throw that at my brother. And that was the toys we had.
I had bicycles too, guys. Don't worry. I was just inside moving my chess pieces with a mechanical armamatron.
I remember when we got
my chess pen pals.
I remember when we got a 4-wheeler, and we were so excited because we were getting a 4-wheeler. My brother and I think we're getting this thing that we get to ride around and play on. No, they hooked a fucking sprayer to that thing and wired it into the battery, and now instead of having to carry a 3-gallon backpack sprayer to spray the fields and ditches and stuff, now I've got a 20-gallon tank on the back of this 4-wheeler that I'm riding around spraying everything with. It's like this. They were just finding ways to make me more efficient at doing the work that I was doing on the farm.
Hey, getting to ride 4-wheeler still a W.
I was a Lego kid, man. I had millions of Legos. All the original space Legos, the boring ones.
I had them until my dad stepped on them one night, and then that was an angry evening. I don't know if I had Legos after that. It's funny because that night I did actually set up the Legos as a trap for burglars. I just didn't expect to catch my dad. He was pretty mad.
Did you watch Home Alone right before you did that?
Oh, I'm not. Maybe I don't even know if Home Alone was out yet at that point. I was pretty young. I remember it wasn't just Legos. It was also my my Ninja Turtles toys. I remember the little brain, the guy that had the brain in the robot stomach. Do you guys remember Ninja Turtles? I don't remember the name of the bad guy, but I remember the brain. That might have been what he stepped on.
Krang.
Yeah, that was it. Yep.
I had He-Man toys until my mom and dad went to church one day, and then they took them away from me.
I had a massive
figures were pretty gay. I mean they're modeling. I mean they were very. I remember my gay cousin. I remember he had a whole thing.
They weren't worried about it being gay, man. They were worried about it being demonic because some dude told them they were demonic.
Oh, or idolatry or something.
No, it's demonic. Because they they were toys that, like, in the cartoons or whatever, they would summon like spells and stuff. So my parents thought that they were demonic.
Oh, so it was specifically He-Man. It wasn't just muscle.
Oh yeah, no, it was totally He-Man. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Makes sense.
I had a massive GI Joe collection. Still do, as a matter of fact. I've still got my entire GI Joe collection from when I was a kid. When
Like the
when
big
Sean
ones
was
or the little ones?
Mostly the little ones. I do have several of the big ones.
Those
too.
are the ones I ever had.
When Sean was younger, we would get them out on the weekends and just have like we'd set it out in the carport and out in the yard and have like full on GI Joe wars. It was fun. I miss him being little like that. I might just get them out and like set them all up and have set up a war in here and see if he'll come like play with me. He won't.
Pretend like you're just doing it for the kids.
No, it's not. Remember, he watches the show, so he'll be on to
you.
He'll be on to you, Justin, because he watches the show. So
if he watches, he might be like, "Heck yeah, let's do it." That sounds because if he's not going to play with them, my brother, his son is getting to about the age that he's ready to start like playing with GI Joes and all those toys, and Sean's getting a little old for it. So it's about time to load all that stuff up and take it back and give it all to my brother, so his son can have them to play with. Because
remember,
they were all of our toys when we were that age. So like,
remember, knowing's half the battle. That's all you have to know.
The more you know.
We have a ton of Ninja Turtles, GI Joes, Transformers. He doesn't get the Transformers. Those are mine. Those are I'm not giving those up. So he can just suck it.
What cartoons did you watch? Like when you were little, what cartoons? Because I watched all those, like the Transformers ones, the GI
Joes.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch Exo Squad?
Oh, that sounds familiar, but I don't.
It was like the
Florida
people would get inside these like,
or what?
No, they get in like these like mechanized like exoskeleton like robots, and I actually had some of the toys.
That sounds like a scam off the Thundercats. Didn't the Thundercats have big robot things?
Yeah, was that one where they joined together though?
I remember.
Yeah, this was like mech suit. It's like a mech suit crew. They called them Exo Squad. He's like
I don't remember Exo Squad. I remember
just the way to pack in cereal
like
commercials.
Thundercats and Ultron? No. Can't remember.
Voltron was a thing. Thundercats was a thing. I wasn't into most of those. I had a very brief window. I like Turtles. I really like Turtles.
Do you guys remember Johnny Sacco and the Flying Robot? I know I'm older than both of you, so
I've got the Thundercats like full box set. I've got the entire original series. All right, I think my grandmother had had gotten some of the Exo Squad toys for us because I recognize them, but I don't remember.
I got one for Christmas, and I remember on Christmas morning, I hadn't even played with it yet. I don't know if me and my sister were fighting about something or what. Anyhow, she picked it up and threw it, and we had hardwood floors. And dude, I have this vivid memory. I remember just seeing that bitch hit the floor and like smash, like one of the mechanisms that shot out all the missiles from one of his arms broke. So that never worked, and I was so pissed.
No.
I was so pissed. For Christmas a couple years ago, she got me a small toy Transformer tow truck to replace it. That's the one right there, the orange one on the right. That's the one she broke. See all the missiles on its right hand? That never worked right.
See, I recognize this. I recognize this one right here, this green one. I think that's the one that my grandmother had gotten for us.
Wow. Oh, man, we were having nostalgic toy flashbacks. Hell yeah.
Those are cool, man. I wish I would have had those when I was a kid.
Yeah, they weren't bad.
I had something else to hit my parents about.
I had a couple G.I. Joes. I had a friend, the smaller G.I. Joes. He had like tons of G.I. Joes because there were 3 brothers. But I really like the vehicles they'd go in. You know, that's what I like playing with was like the little submarines or the jets.
Oh man, my aunt found a copy of a letter. So my brother and I had found this like stupid old G.I. Joe like magazine that had like a bunch of toys and stuff. And we wrote a letter to like the company or whatever. Yeah, to the toy supplier.
Mr. Joe.
Yeah. No. asking if they still had any of the, because there were a couple of the toys in this catalog that we wanted. And so we wrote them a letter asking if they had any of them. And they actually sent us one of them. Like just sent it to us. Like they didn't sell them anymore, but they still had stock of some of the stuff. And so like they sent us one of them. I need to get it out sometime, because that's one of those like really cool things. Like we're just like, I can't remember how old we were, probably like 8-9 years old, and write a letter to the toy company that put this magazine out in like the late 70s, and they send us one. Like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, it's based.
Like what's the worst that could happen? They say no. So like, that's.
Yeah, I used to do shit like that when I was a kid and bored. I wrote Weird Al a letter, and he sent me an autographed picture.
Seriously?
No. Yeah, no, yeah, not of his penis, but an autographed picture of him. Yeah,
did you send it to Bill Clinton or no?
Oops, I got my addresses mixed up. Is listing lazily to the left, I hear. But yeah, it was pretty cool of a Lal or his secretary. I don't know.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. I've heard people call like Weird Al like a hack or whatever. But I like him just like an artist thing. Like his tours are pretty badass. He uses a full orchestra. He's I think he's a good performer and everything.
I've never seen him live, but like he's got talent. Like, yeah, I don't care if he's redoing other people's stuff. It's just fun.
Yeah, I like singing comedy too. Singing comedians. If a comedian brings out a guitar, oftentimes it tickles me, Not always. Some of them suck. Don't get me wrong, but
I'm not going to put on Weird Al unless it's
I haven't since I was a kid. I don't listen to him.
What's the Amish Paradise? That song is just absolutely phenomenal.
There's a song by him that I used on Instagram recently, and I just remember it as being I remember even seeing something. He said he had to record the song first thing in the morning. His real deep voice. It's called the truck driving song. He's like, I'm driving a big old truck, and so I'm using it for this Instagram video. I'm listening to it, but then it's a whole song about being a cross-dressing truck driver. He's talking about having trouble working the pedals because of his high heels, and trying to grip the steering wheel while letting his nails dry and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking hilarious. Oh, should probably be offensive these days.
Somebody's gonna be offended by everything.
Yeah. Yes.
But
I saw the fighting on Twitter lately.
When it was probably about 10 years ago, if not more, when some the trans bathroom thing was a big deal. And so remember artists wouldn't do concerts in South Carolina or Georgia or whatever because of their bathroom laws, and people were I guess pressuring Al to not do concerts there. But he was no, I'm going to do a concert. I'm not going to punish. Even if I disagree with that, I'm not going to punish people who want to see my show who don't give a fuck about that, And I think he did something like he did the show, but I think he donated some of the money to some fucking gay charity or something. I was that's a good middle ground. Charity. Yeah, that's a good middle ground, dude. Because it is not doing a concert in a state because of something that's fucking. As a fan, I would be so pissed if somebody I wanted to see didn't come because Florida's fucking DeSantis.
Don't say gay.
Yeah, man. Well, fuck you. I have nothing to do with that.
The funny thing with that whole bathroom thing is that Obama came out of literally nowhere with that. And I think that was the initial push to push the whole trans thing so that Big Mike could be realized as who he was.
And it was so, I don't know, dude. It was so pointless anyhow, because it's I don't think anybody cared in the first place. All the Walmart already had the policy, use whatever fucking bathroom you want. We don't care. Just don't make a big deal out of it. That'd been their policy. That's
pretty much always been the policy is that nobody's ever really made a big deal out of it. Nobody has.
If you're passable enough, go for it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the places had the single stall bathrooms where they were just one door and that was it. One thing inside there, and you just do whatever you have to do.
I use ladies' rooms all the time. If it's I go in the Burger King and somebody's in the men's and there's nobody else in the place, I'll go use the fucking ladies' single stall bathroom. I don't give a shit. And especially after all that happened, I'm cool. I don't have to feel bad at all now.
I find it funny though when they get
I'm a woman or
pissy, when they see you walking out, they get mad about it, and it's
I looked and made sure that it wasn't like a restaurant packed full of women or anything, that I was going to be inconveniencing anybody. There wasn't anybody else dining in there. They're just probably an employee was in the fucking men's room or some shit. And I was like, I'm not going to stand here and wait like a fucking idiot. And there's a perfectly good bathroom, but the sign says that.
That's when you walk out and just say, "Hey, man, I'm Mark Metz. It's all good."
Speaking of Mark, I don't remember if how it was whenever he went. So when we went to the Michigan game, we went and ate at this restaurant before the game, and there was a men's room and a women's room. And when I went, like, I had to pee, so I got up and go to the bathroom, and there's a line, and like, it's men and women all in the line. And it's just, as soon as the door comes open, the next person goes in. Nobody's paying attention to which one is which. I don't remember which one I used. And not that it matters. I just had to. Like, it was
Great
like,
story, man.
Yeah.
You should blog that.
As long as it's a single stall bathroom, like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, it's just a fucking
Everything-
bathroom, dude.
Yeah, make everything a single stall unisex bathroom, and then you eliminate
Single
all
stalls should not have men and women on it. They're just bathrooms.
Right.
Yeah. If anything, I mean, because it really does inconvenience women the most because they take longer. The old joke about that's where the line is.
No.
not the
They
men's, but the
inconvenience
women's.
men the most.
Yeah, but
They
I'm
take
just saying,
too long in there.
well, but if there's separate bathrooms, it's not an issue to us, right? We just, that's why, like, a lot of times women will dip into the men's room, like at a bar, and they're all drunk, and they, fuck, I gotta take a piss, I don't want to wait in line. So, if instead it's first come, first serve, not based on sex at all, it's, that's ultimate equality.
Okay, I got to jump out, guys. Have a good day.
All right, see you, brother. It's really like the really pure form of bathroom usage is a porta potty, right? There's not a men and women's porta potty. There's a line. You get in, you do your thing, you get out when it's your turn. The great equalizer of everybody shitting in a bucket at a concert, a sun-baked porta potty. That's the great equalizer.
It's time to get rid of these big ass community bathrooms where you got lines of urinals and all of these stalls. Like, everything's just solo.
Yep.
Get in and get out. Yep. And that would also, that would probably also cut down on a lot of theft type stuff. Like, you have a little more control over, like, you put a camera outside the bathrooms, obviously not in the bathroom, but outside, and then you can see who's going in and out with shit. And like, now you have better tracking on that. You don't have like glory holes and bullshit like that going on.
Probably have the fun ones.
We have society's problems by just cutting everything down to single stall bathrooms.
I remember when all that was happening, a friend of mine posted like, I'm never going to this store again. You're saying that somebody could just come up on my daughter while she's in the bathroom and molest her? No way. And I'm like, I think that's still illegal. Like, I'm just gonna I think that's still illegal.
And there have been some instances where that's happened.
Yeah, but it's like, man, like, I don't know, dude. It's like, I don't know if you're that hell bent on molesting somebody. I don't think that's the sign that stops you. It's one of those. It's one of those things. Like, I don't need to be told not to. Like, murder needs to be illegal, but it's not. I don't not murder because it's illegal. Like, I don't murder because, I haven't found a good reason yet. I don't know.
Because I would say because I need to, like, go to work and have a job and pay my bills and everything. But some days that shit just seems really overrated. Like, murder in jail seems like maybe not.
Speaking of murder, I share with everybody. Processed a goat yesterday.
Oh, congratulations! How did that go?
It went well. It was my first one, so it's the kind of thing, like, I've seen it in videos and I've read about it in books, but there's a couple little spots that I didn't quite understand. You kind of got to get in there and do it, to sort of understand what they mean by, the esophageal tendon, or how to skin it around the butthole, things like that. But got those problems, I think, solved. I think we'll be able to do it a lot cleaner, next time and quicker. But yeah, we got it broken down into primals and on ice. I'm gonna actually cut it up today, I think. But yeah, it was cool. One less goat. It wasn't super emotional. I was really nervous before we got the goats about having to butcher them, because I'm like, all right, it took me a little while to get used to doing the chickens, and the chickens are easy and only relatively sentient, right? And the goats, if we raise them from babies, like, they're adorable and this and that. But I've really put a lot into mentally gearing myself up the last couple of years, and yeah, it wasn't a big deal. So,
well, I'm happy for you. As 2-Bit says, if you get the killing urge, just head over to Haiti, skip dinner. Here the buffets are great. Yeah, be careful in Haiti. While they are known for their goat, there's a good chance that's not what you're eating these days. Did you see the video? So the video got taken down that had been posted of like these, basically the like warlord gangs that are now running.
I know nothing about this. No videos, no pictures, no information. Except something's happening in Haiti.
Yeah, there are like warlord gangs that are now running Haiti, more or less, and they're just like, so everybody's starving, and they're just like murdering folks in the street and then eating them. So yeah.
Wasn't Haiti like the only like successful slave rebellion?
Yes,
it was on an island or something like that. Which this doesn't look good for that. I mean, like this doesn't look good. This doesn't make that, you know. I want that to be like some awesome place that there was like a slave rebellion and like it, you know, worked. But I mean, I'll give them coincidence points. This isn't that situation.
The only times throughout history that Haiti has actually been like some modicum of a successful country is when they've more or less been run by the colonizers or some form of like
it was French there.
Yeah. So some form of like imperialistic rule. Otherwise, it's always like just a complete fucking shit show. And I think it was like back in the early 80s. So they've always been kind of half-ass in turmoil with leadership and stuff. And like back in the early 80s, it started to really get bad. And so the U.S. like sent 20,000 troops down there to more or less just kill everybody that was acting like fucking dumbasses and kind of restore order and get like establish who's in charge. And then from that point forward, it's just been like a constant steady creep back towards what it is today. So it's like every time like some foreign power comes in and like helps establish order, within 50 years they're right back to where they were to begin. Like, because I think the last, like before the 80s, I think the last time that it had happened was like right after World War II. So there's about a 40-year creep of somebody comes in, like kills all the people who are being psychopaths, establishes some form of orderly rule, and then leave them alone. And within 40 years, they're right back to where they were to begin with. It's like, you know, there's no saving this. It's like, this is who they are.
Our boy Billy G even tried to kill them all with AIDS, and that didn't work. Have you ever read, and I don't know that this is the case or anything. I don't know that much of the history. Have you ever read Tales of an Economic Hitman or Confessions of an Economic Hitman? Are you familiar with the book or the concept?
I have it, but I haven't read it.
It's a good book. It's actually a fun read for something that's supposedly nonfiction. But he talks about like what his job was basically to like go into like, you know, third world countries or whatever and sell them on some big public works project. And don't worry, you know, these U.S. corporations or government, they're going to pay for it and or whatever. And it's going to bring all this prosperity. And then inevitably it doesn't. Inevitably they just suck a lot of like resources out. And then like they leave them with the bill and they're like forever indebted to like the US and shit. Excuse me. But it sucks because a lot of these like places like that, it's like when somebody comes in to quote unquote like help them or save them, you know, it's only sort of like it's not just out of their own benevolence, you know. So that's kind of shitty. But again, I'm not saying that's the case with you know Haiti. It might just suck there. I don't know. But that is sort of the history of the last several hundred years of the Caribbean in a lot of places too. Hey, we bring you sugar. It's going to be great. Bananas. Don't worry. Oh, fuck. Oh, well, what are you going to do? It is a good book, though. There's a sequel, though, and I haven't read it. But yeah, it's good. It's fun. There's this one part. So there's a couple things I don't 100% agree with, and he's sort of opining about like, you know, how capitalism sucks, like because it does this, you know. And the book isn't anti-capitalistic or anything, but I just don't totally agree with the definition he uses. But he's talking about how like, oh yeah, there's this big prosperous, factory up the road, some American-owned factory. But here I sit at this like by this river, and I'm at this cafe, and there's just people like taking a shit in the river, and he's like blaming like the big core. I'm like, right, but like it's like people just shit in the river here. Obviously, like you put a big factory there, it's not like the people that own the factory are greedy because people still shit in the river. Like I don't know, I just don't draw that connection, necessarily.
Yeah, it's civilization. Yeah, this is probably the best way to. Primalist can't do civilization. The two frames can't coexist. Like
it's a long road. It takes some time to get there to get above shitting in the river. Some people just prefer to shit in the river until you have to get like where your grandparents didn't shit in the river, and then shitting in the river isn't even an option in your head. It's a long progression. It's a long trod to shitting. I mean, I don't like indoor plumbing particularly. I don't like that that's the standard, but at least the shitting in a hole that you bury, that's better than the river.
Right. I've got a tree right out here at the corner of the building, and that's where I pee. I don't go to the house to pee. I pee right there. I haven't gotten up to shitting in the woods yet, but that's just because like the whole time I've been out here, it's been fucking cold. So maybe in the summer when it warms up a little bit.
We talked about Humanure on your show. I'm telling you, do a nice Humanure setup. It's easy. You get compost out of it. You save water. And it's not even like I'm not like water environmentalist thing, which I am, but like that's not my thing. I don't want to run my well pump. Like, why do I want to? I mean, every time I flush a toilet, or every couple times I have to run the well pump. That's just one less time that well pump can run before it fucking breaks. I've got a credit card just for that purpose. For when that breaks, I can spend the fucking $3,000 to get the new one put in. Oh, home ownership. Hillbillies are the exception that proves the rule. Oh, hold on, we'll get there. I got it. There we go. It's like unlocking a car door. Oh shit. Yeah, we had an old porta potty that I had that I converted to Humanure, and that's what we used for a few years when we did the tiny house, so we didn't have to do it in the, where we live. But it was fine, dude. It wasn't stinky. I put a $20 heater I got off of Amazon, space heater, in there on a timer, so it'd kick on like 30 minutes before I'd usually go out there and poop, and that way it was like nice and warm in there over the winter months. You can put a little light in there, you can make it all right. I actually want to get it set back up so I don't have to walk all the way back home if I gotta make bears.
It's handy. I need to do something like that out here. That way I don't have to go to the house when I need to take a shit. Because usually it's like 11 o'clock at night when I'm out here like playing video games or whatever, watching TV, and like I just don't want to walk out because then I have to take off. Like so as you can tell, I've got a bed and couches and all kinds of shit. Like I could live out here if I wanted to. I've got a refrigerator and an air fryer, and like I could for real live out here if I really wanted to. So I keep a pair of house shoes out here, like house slippers, because they're warm and I like them. They're fuzzy on my feet.
Get you a bumper dumper. Slide that thing on the back of your truck, dude.
Stick a bucket on that.
Nah, dude, you're out in the pasture, bro. You just let it drop at that point. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, you could do a bucket if you wanted to. Like it just depends on the height of your vehicle. Yeah. Yeah, they've got
my truck's tall enough. That wouldn't be a problem.
And you could make it. I think the actual bumper dumper has a butt attachment. There you go. Oh, so you've got a toilet paper holder on it? Hell yeah. Yeah,
fancy. Hell yeah.
Uncle Booger's bumper dumper. It just so happens that's what he called Aunt Beth's butt too.
Oh Lord.
Back to 2-Bit's comment about hillbillies.
Do we have anything like actually to talk about today. I mean, I guess
Like, news? No.
no.
I talked about the
what was it?
Legos having 2 genders. That's about as far as I got.
The Oscars. The Oscars happened last night. Steve had some stuff, and he was talking about there was something from Massey about the tracking the cows, and I was like, yeah, I've got Jimmy Kimmel reading on the Oscars, John Cena walking naked across the stage, a bunch of fat chicks talking about how proud they are to be fat, and then it turns out they're all dead, and some dumb bitch talking about white privilege. Like I'm not trying to do serious news today. It's Monday, and it's the Monday after daylight savings time, so everybody's like groggy except for those of us who work night shift.
Yeah, you're lucky I wasn't an hour late today. You're lucky I'm not getting on like right now going, hey guys, when we starting?
My stepson is starting at my wife's work today, and she was like really worried that he was, because he's not a morning person anyway. Like he has to do his like orientation and training stuff on days, and then he'll go to night shift. And so like she was really worried that, especially being daylight savings yesterday and everything, that he was gonna like be late today. She sent me a text when I was on my way home from work. She's like, he's already called me twice and sent me a text, and they're getting breakfast, so they'll be there. They're not gonna be late. And then usually she leaves early on Mondays because she has to set everything up. And when I got home, she was still here. She's like, I'm the one that's running late. I'm like, see, you were so worried about him, should have worried about yourself.
It's the daylight savings like fucks with me because like like I have chores to do based on when the sun comes up. Like trying to move my chicken tractors when an hour before the sun comes up, like they're not ready to move yet, So it's like typically it'd just be fine. I just adjust my schedule. Like yesterday, set my alarm for like 6, and it went off. I'm like, wait a minute, the sun's not coming up for another fucking hour, So I, hit it for another hour because daylight savings, but like it starts to fuck me up when like I have like a job that like starts at like 9 a.m. and it's like a 2-hour drive. It's like, oh, I have to get up and do all my fucking chores in the dark, with a headlamp. And most people bitch about it getting dark too early, but because I do my work in the fucking morning, I'm the opposite. But I said this before, I don't care which way they do it. Set it one way and just fucking leave it, and I would be happy as a clam. I was joking yesterday. I'm like, even if they did take it to like make it, we're gonna make it make more sense. They do it some stupid government way. Like we're not gonna move the whole hour in one day. We're gonna move it incrementally over, some odd number like 17 days or something. We're just gonna move it 3 minutes a day, and that way it's easier on people or some bullshit like that.
Well, don't they? Like I know that they always make this justification in the fall whenever you fall back that the reason that they're doing it is so that it's daylight, so that it's not dark when the kids are waiting for the bus in the morning, but it makes sense to spring forward, and now it's dark when the kids are like, what? It only works. That's only important in the fall. It's not important in the spring. What?
Well, it was funny because on the news today when they were talking about it, they didn't give any justification at all for why we still do it. They just talked about like the history of it. No, they did it in World War I to conserve fuel, and then they did it again in World War II to conserve fuel. And then, whatever, they made it permanent in the 60s or something. That was just it. Like, oh, okay. So why are we doing this then? Like, I know we're in like 7 wars now, not just a one, but like, do we still really need to do this? I don't know. We're not rationing tin. It's not that bad. Your weekly tin allowance from the government, or however it worked. I wasn't alive back then. I don't know. I just hear stories. I don't watch the Oscars, so I don't know. Jimmy Kimmel was hosting again. I know that.
Well, they can't let anybody who actually has a functioning brain host the Oscars anymore, because then you end up with Ricky Gervais like putting all of Hollywood on blast, and
Jimmy Kimmel works, dude.
Not gonna make that mistake.
He's gonna go in and he's gonna do a good job because he works. He's gonna make sure they're happy. Yep.
Anybody that like unironically thinks Jimmy Kimmel is still funny is
No, he's safe. That's the thing. And he does his job, which is to be that, And I'm not necessarily saying it's a compliment. Take it as a compliment or not if you want. I'm just saying if I was a big TV executive who, in today's world, right? Not saying if I was, but I think Jimmy Kimmel would he'd be the safe bet. You're gonna make money with him, What was the thing though? Didn't a few years ago, I thought it was on the Oscars or the Emmys or whatever the fuck this is. Didn't he quote unquote get in trouble for doing something racist because he pretended to be passed out drunk while a black woman was accepting an award or something? Do you know what I'm talking about?
If he did, that's probably the last legitimately funny thing he's done.
Let's see if we can find it.
How did he go that far in that direction, and Adam Carolla is still fucking hilarious and based?
So, this is sort of what I gather from listening to Carolla, is that Carolla wants to be a comedian or whatever, which is fine. He does his thing, so he wants to do. Jimmy Kimmel, his dream since he was young, was to be to host the fucking Tonight Show. That's what he wanted to do since he was a kid. So that's what he made happen. So looking at it through that frame, you could say he's pragmatic, but that's that'd be the basic version, I guess. Now a lot of people would say things like, oh, whatever, he's evil and goes to Epstein Island or shit like that. I don't know, and I don't know about that, but that's the most non-tinfoil hatty explanation. Adam Carolla just doesn't give a fuck. Carolla says oh, Jimmy Kimmel he was the one who did all the work on all the shows they did together. He was I was out drinking. Jimmy Kimmel was late in the office writing the shit and doing the work and making the shit happen that he fucking works. So for better or for worse, whatever you got to do to get there. This is the chick action. I want to actually see what happened on the thing. Her name was Cheryl Lee Ralph, I think. Oh god, this one from HuffPost. I can't even bring that up. Oh, okay, yeah, here it is. Okay. Let's see. The symbolism wasn't lost. Oh, hold on, let me share this. Sorry, I'm just gonna read to you guys. Okay, here we go. Jimmy Kimmel's stupid antics are just latest insult for black women and men in Hollywood. The symbolism wasn't lost in many circles. A white man literally laying down to impede a black woman from reveling in her due. Subscribe for that? What the fuck? Okay, so yeah, no info. But basically what it was he was doing, there was some bit before she came up where he was drunk or pretending to be drunk. And so he was pretending to be passed out on the stage. And I don't know, she had to step over him or something. So it was a big deal. I know. What the fuck do you even say to that, dude?
Right. That's more of the victimhood, the victimhood mentality. Everything has to be a slight, regardless of what it is. It's why most comedians are afraid to actually be funny anymore, because if they do something that's legitimately funny, then then somebody's going to be offended, and then they don't want to be offensive. It's like you were talking about the difference between Kimmel and Carolla. Carolla just wanted to do comedy and be funny and fuck that shit, and Kimmel actually wanted to be popular and well liked.
Yeah, if you're gonna run the Tonight Show, that show, of course, all the importance in history, you got to be.
And no, Carlos, I have not watched any SNL in a very long time.
Watched a couple of the Shane Gillis bits when he was on the other day, or a couple weeks ago, but that's about it. And they were
there was the Trump shoes one. I saw that. I didn't see that one.
Well, it's funny because they weren't, none of them were great, but it was obvious Shane was the only one on screen at any point who had any talent. You know what I mean? It was just so obvious. He was the only thing close to funny on there, and I was oh man, they fucked up so bad firing him. But that was somebody in our group chat said it. I don't want to, not giving credit, remember who it was, but that was the best thing that could happen to him, was not getting on that fucking show, and then of course he got a bit of fame, I think, for that happening too. It was a good time with everyone lashing out against, woke corporate bullshit like the Bud Light thing and this and that, so and now he's the spokesperson for Bud Light. Fucking Oh, the turntables have turned. Oh shit.
I actually wrote a Substack about the Bud Light thing.
Oh wow, I might actually read it.
Yeah, I made the case that the boycott is like it succeeded. It did what it was intended to do. There's no reason to continue. Like, there's no reason to get mad at UFC or Kid Rock or Shane Gillis or any of those for like it did what it was supposed to do. There's mission accomplished. You won. They fired
forgiveness
everybody.
Isn't an option.
They fired everybody involved.
Yeah.
Like their market share will never recover. Like they have just come to grasp with the fact that this is their new normal. They've changed all of their advertising and marketing campaigns to go back to catering to redneck frat boys and sports fans. Like it worked. What more do you fucking want? You're not gonna bankrupt Anheuser-Busch. So like, shut the fuck up, take the W, and now figure out who your next target is and be successful in that too. Quit. Like, it's just,
well, that's supposed to be the point too, because like that's the problem with like cancel culture. It's like, no, you're just canceled, right? But it's like, okay, that doesn't really like solve anything. Where it's like a boycott. Why would you bother boycotting if you didn't still want the product? You boycott and shit because you want them to change their ways so you can go back to enjoying their product. So if they make the change, like you said, then yeah, dude, cool, we won. Let's go back to drinking Bud Light and fucking move on with our lives,
And it didn't affect me because I never drank Bud Light to begin with.
Yeah.
It was like
Bush and
cool.
Bush Light. I know they're cousins, but
I wasn't going to
stop either way.
I was boycotting already. I just didn't know it. I have tried. So just like,
Bud Light Clamato.
Oh God, I tried that. I have a friend that did not dislike it.
Is he Hispanic?
No.
Oh.
White dude.
Well.
He makes
What's his name, Carlos? You like Clamato?
He brews his own beers and stuff, and I guess something about the taste of it was he had an appreciation for it. I was like, not my cup of tea. I also do not drink light beer. Like I really don't like light beer. I got there's like a local brewery, and they had like they make a brown ale and like a good dark lager that I really like. And they had a combo pack thing, and it has one that's like an IPA, and the other one is another like light beer type of thing. I hate IPAs. IPAs are straight up fucking piss water. I cannot stand that shit. And then the other like light beer one, it's acceptable. I'll drink it. I'll probably pawn the IPAs off on my wife just so I don't have to fuck with them. But yeah, I can't do light beer.
Carlos dabbles. See, it's not racist. It's just stereotyping. I'm just saying here the Clamato Bud Light boxes are in Spanish. Like on the box, it's Spanish. That's all. Just like the 8-ounce cans, the little 8-ounce cans, that's Spanish. They're in Spanish. But it's because they fit the cup holder on the lawnmowers, is what a clerk told me once. I swear to God.
And everybody on lawnmowers in Florida is Hispanic. Is that what you're saying? They're running all the lawn care services.
Even the whites I know who run lawn care services are alcoholics. So he might. It's a little bit of both.
That's fair.
So, yeah.
Better to be an alcoholic than to be a retard.
Hell yeah.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.